New Photoshop's 2024 features are all about AI, using mainly Adobe's AI Firefly, which is really amazing, and I think it's gonna be a new era for designers, and indeed it will make our life much easier. So starting of course with Adobe's Generative Fill, which is really amazing tool, and that tool has been existing already in Adobe's Photoshop beta version, and also on their website firefly.adobe. So let's discover more cool examples using that amazing tool, Generative Fill. And I've been using Midjourney to generate these photos in here. So if we disable that layer in here, we can see these two images. And actually you can check out these images as well on my profile in here in Midjourney. So that's one image, and that's the other one. And as you can see, with an easy prompt like advertising, I got these images and I added them in one canvas in here. And let's say I would like to blend these two images together, just like that layer in here. That's actually a generated layer using Adobe's Generative Fill tool, and it gave me amazing options actually. Though these images are irrelevant, and that's like a sea part and also a sky part, and there is no logic in placing a sea on top of the sky if you think about it. However, these AI tools can be really unlocking creative images for us. So I was experimenting, let's see what we will get. And actually we have that option in here, and we have another option as well. That one in variation part on right side in properties panel. So anyway, let's see how we can easily do that using Generative Fill. Actually, I'm gonna hide that layer, and all you need to do is select any of your selection tools like that one in here, rectangular marquee tool. Then we can draw a selection containing some pixels from these two images, like so maybe. Then you can click in here on Generative Fill, and if you wanna blend two images like in that example, you don't have to type anything, you can click generate, and in that case you need to be online. And as you can see guys, we have three different options, so you can click in here to see second option and third option as well. And if you don't like these options, you can click generate again to get more options. Or if you like these images and you want to see more varieties, you can disable that layer and create a new selection. Selecting that layer, create a new selection like so, then you can click generate, and that way you'll have different options like in that file. Also, what's really amazing about using Generative Fill is that you can remove objects from your image, which used to be a very tricky part, or you can create certain design elements. So let's see, for example, how we can remove objects using that amazing tool. Pressing Command or Control D to deselect that selection in here, then zooming in on that lower image. I'm gonna select that image in here. As you can see, that's the lower image. And let's say we don't like that balloon in here. We can select a different selection tool, maybe ellipse marquee tool or any selection tool, something like that. Let's even add that part as well to our selection. And once you create a selection, you'll get that bar in here, context bar or contextual bar. You can move that bar, by the way, from here. And in that case, in order to remove something from our image, we don't need to type anything as well. So we're gonna click in here and click generate. And usually by default, when you don't type anything, it's gonna remove that element or try to replace it with something like the background, which is in that case the sky, as you can see. So here we have some nice blending skies or clouds. And I like these three options easily like that. Took maybe 10 seconds or something like that, which is really amazing. And now let's even go to that image in here, where we can see how we can expand our image. So that's our original image, by the way. Holding and maintaining Alt or Option key and clicking on that eye to show only that layer. That image was generated using Midjourney. As usual, you can see that one in here. It was product advertisement. That's the only prompt I used to get that image. However, when you get some images from Midjourney, currently they are limited by resolution. So if we go back to Photoshop, you can see that we have 100% scale. Pressing Command or Control 1 will be 100%, as you can see in here. And it's not really a very high resolution image. So let's say we need to have something bigger. So let's say we would like to get a bigger image, a higher resolution image. or even we need to expand that background a bit, now we can easily do that in Photoshop using Generative Expand, or we can use Generative Fill as well to do that. So if we want to use Generative Fill, we can select Rectangular Marquee tool, and we're gonna draw a selection from here all the way like that. We need to have some pixels from our image, maybe even let's make it smaller selection like so. Then you can invert the selection pressing Command or Control, Shift and I. Now we have inverted the selection, and we can click in here, Generate, and it's gonna be generating background for us. And in that case, we needed these pixels to tell Photoshop what we need to generate. So it's gonna use these pixels as a sample for its generated image. And tada, here we go. We have a very nice result. As you can see, we have 3 options as usual. That one, and that will be the third one. So that's one way to expand images. The other way is selecting your crop tool. And here you can see that we do have background default. We need to select Generative Expand, and we can go ahead and expand like so. Maybe now we have very large image compared to our original image. Once you hit return or enter, it's gonna be generating the background for you without having to select some pixels from your original image, which might be easier that way, by the way. And now you can see that we have a more negative space around our product, which is aesthetically pleasing, of course, and also it's giving us more space to place our text, so we can place a logo maybe in here and maybe an advertising message in that part or anywhere. In that case, we have more room to use, and we do have other options as well, as usual. And now let's even see how we can create a new design element using as well Generative Fill. So I'm gonna be zooming in, selecting selection tool. I'm gonna draw a selection in here. I'm gonna type Firefly, hit return, something like that. Oh, that looks cool. We can zoom out, we can see different options. I like that one better. Easy like that. You can create design elements, manipulate your images, blend 2 images, or even remove parts from your image. And what's really amazing in here is that it's really shortening your learning curve for design tools like Photoshop, Illustrator, and even you can start with an amazing image using something like Midjourney or even Adobe's Firefly text-to-image. And by the way, guys, Adobe's Firefly text-to-image is now producing much better images as they have rolled out their second version of their text-to-image generative images. So here, for example, we do have Adobe's website, and by the way, they're gonna be charging for their AI soon along with your plan. So here, as you can see on their website, you do have like 25 monthly generative credits for free included in your Adobe's creative plan, and you can get more monthly generative credits for Adobe fonts and no watermarks on images generated by Firefly. That's gonna be $5 currently. Maybe they're gonna be changing their pricing. So yeah, keep that in mind because all these AI generative tools are costing these companies a lot. And at the end of the day, it's gonna be saving you so much time and effort as well, and hopefully money using these AI tools because you're gonna be flying through your designing process. So anyway, if you are on their website, you can click on Generative Fill, which is existing in Photoshop and we've been experimenting with as well. And they do text effects where you can get effects on your phones. And also if you'd like to discover text to image, you can open that one in a new tab, and that's our new tab in here. So here, as you can see, we do have much better images, and some of these photos are hyper realistic photos, as you can see. So check this one out, for example, and also that one looks really amazing. We can type something like a penguin wearing sunglasses. I really like penguins. They are really cool. And by the way, in their Firefly Image 2 model, which is beta, as you can see, they do have new options on the right side. So here we do have model version. If you want to go back to image 1 instead of image 2, probably by the time you're watching that video, you might be seeing even model image 3 or even 10, 20, I don't know. That AI field is rapidly progressing, so it's really hard to keep up with all these updates. But the main point of these videos, guys, is that you get the point of using these tools and how you can utilize them in your designs. So here, for example, we do have slight options, and instead of the aspect ratio, we can select something like landscape. And also we do have content type, it's on auto. Would you like to have that one as art or photo? Let's keep it photo. Visual intensity, we can increase that one a bit. Then here we do have style, where you can select from reference image gallery. Instead of prompting or text prompting these visual imaginations, you can find images in here. So here, for example, you can select from any of these images to get a similar style. So here, for example, we do have popular. You do have something artistic like acrylic and oil, watercolor, pencil, 3D. So usually in Midjourney, you'll be typing 3D within your text prompt if you're looking for something like that. Now it's a little bit easier because they do have different 3D images as well. So maybe some of these styles didn't even cross your mind. So I think that's really handy. You don't have to be a text prompt engineer in that case or a genius. Also, we do have digital illustration, graphic. We do have neon styles, landscapes, dramatic lighting, photo studio, manipulation, and so much more. As you can see, even geometric shapes can be applied to an image like that, which is really cool. So I'm gonna select from something like maybe that one. Let's see how that goes. We can go back. We do have a slider for strength for the style of these photos. We can make it very intense or even a little bit light. Let's keep it in the middle. Then we do also have effects. If you would like to add a bokeh effect, for instance, to your image, why not? Let's keep that one on. Color and tone, let's keep it cool tone. It's a penguin at the end of the day. So it's not going to be staying in warm tone, for example. We do have lighting as well. Dramatic, composition, shot from below. Let's see what we get with that. Photo settings, that's also a new thing in here, where you can increase the aperture or even shutter speed or field of view if you'd like to go for a wide photo or zoom. Then we do have advanced settings if you would like to exclude sun, so that image shouldn't include a sun in that case, and you can add up to 100 words, which is really amazing. Now let's click generate. And as you can see, guys, we do have our prompt in here, and we do have styles added, which should be written, by the way. If you're typing in Midjourney, you need to type these, and that's what we get in here. Actually, we can make it even intense. Let's remove also the dramatic light, generate. I think we're gonna go for hyper realistic tab in here as well, and let's get rid of that bokeh effect, generate. And notice, guys, how that reference image is affecting our image that much. Even we get some clouds on his chest or something like that, including these colors. We can change our reference image and see what we get. So for instance, I'm gonna click in here and let's select maybe something like landscape. It should be completely changing our image, generate. So let's say we like that one in here. We can edit that one. If you would like to add generative fill, or show similar images to that one, or even you can use that one as a style reference for another image. You can remove background, apply filters and adjustments, add text and more. So basically you can do a lot in here, or even you can add that one to your favorites, or you can share that one or download your image by clicking on download, copy link, or copy image. So I think Adobe is going to utilize lots and lots of AI, and this is just the start, which is really promising, by the way. I think our life as designers will be much easier to create any visuals with more creativity and less time and effort. And even they do have more modules that are in beta, which will be released soon. So really amazing work, as you can see, by Adobe. Also, what's really new in Adobe Photoshop is that context bar, which you can see in here once you select any tool. So for instance, if we select the selection tool and we select that layer in here and we draw a selection, we do have the generative fill, which is new, and we discovered that one before. However, we do have also more options related to that selection. So for instance, you can modify your selection from here by expanding or contracting that one. And instead of doing that from select menu, going all the way to here, modify, and you can expand your selection from here. So it's going to be more convenient like that. And also you can revert or invert your selection like so. Now we have inverted selection. We can revert that back, or even we can mask the part from here instead of clicking on the mask button. And once we do have that mask, now we can see that that bar is changing accordingly. So you can add to mask or subtract to mask. So let's add to that mask. Now instantly we do have a brush. Instead of selecting your brush tool and selecting white for foreground, then increasing your brush size and painting like so, you're adding to your mask like that. And if you'd like to subtract, you're gonna click in here. Now we do have black on foreground, so you can remove that again. So some of these options are used to be as well in your properties panel, and even you do have more options by clicking on these dots, where you can invert your mask, reset layer mask, like so, and also you can hide your bar from here, or reset bar's position, or bend the bar to a position, or you can move that bar from here. And actually I need to undo that. It's a little tiny white bar in here, and if you don't see that bar, you can click on window and make sure you do have contextual task bar enabled. In some instance you might need to reset your Photoshop. I think that's a very handy tool, especially for new users, and also it's making Photoshop more convenient tool in that way. Another amazing feature in Photoshop, by the way, is that we do have enhanced gradient, and it's really intuitive. So let's create a new layer, for instance, then select our gradient tool, or you can press G as well. Then we do have gradients. If you'd like to go with basics, blues, or other colors in here. So let's go maybe with blues. We do have gradient style, either gradient or classic gradient. So let's keep it gradient as it is. If you'd like to go with linear or radial or other styles for gradients, let's keep it as it is, linear for now. And we're gonna draw a line like that. And what's really amazing about that new gradient tool is that you can easily readjust your gradient without having to redraw your gradient. You can set how dominant that color will be, either dark or light, or even you can add stops. So you can click in here, you do have a color, and as you can see we do have in our properties panel that gradient in here, or even we can double click on that black to change that color maybe to another color, maybe green. Okay, we can add another stop in here, double clicking, let's go with magenta or something like that. We can rotate our angle, and as you can see you can keep adjusting that gradient, either angle, scale. We can reverse our gradient. If you want to change, instead of solid you can make noise, something like that, which is really bad. So let's go back to solid. If you don't want to have a smooth, harsh gradient, something like that. Oh, actually that's way smoother, I think. Anyway, we can also reduce its opacity like so, which is really amazing. And even let's try to change its style. Instead of linear we can make it radial, something like that. We can move that circle all the way to here. We do have a very harsh gradient in here. We can adjust these circles like so. So we do have a non-destructive gradient. The only way that will be destroying that gradient if you go ahead and right click and rasterize layer. Now it's no longer editable and it's like the old gradient. Adjustment layers have got new updates also on Photoshop. We do have some adjustments presets, something like Instagram filters or color lookup tables. So here we do have adjustments. Let me move that one all the way to here. Clicking on adjustments, I'm gonna expand that one so you can see everything in here. Actually, if we hover over portrait, you can see that we do have portraits. You can see how that looks like. If you hover over cinematic, you can even click on that one. Now you do have a group of cinematic, including brightness, contrast, and color balance. you can disable one of these adjustment layers and see how that looks like. So maybe like brightness contrast only. If we select our properties panel, we can see that we do have a minus 30% of brightness and 10% contrast. It's adding a bit to our image. So it's really nice. Even you can enable these two layers. We have that group of cinematic. You can select the entire group and reduce its opacity if you think that's too intense, which I think you think that. So let's make it maybe 30% or so, with or without subtle change. Or let's disable that one. We can hover over creative. You do have a different option. Photo repair, cinematic, split tone. We do have more tab as well, where you can see, for instance, portraits have different filters, if you will call them filters, just like Instagram and TikTok. Landscape, they do have their own filters or adjustments. Photo repair, creative, and cinematic. We have tried that one from cinematic. We do have different filters as well. I think this might be replacing a lot of color lookup tables. And if you want to go back, you can scroll up back to view all, and we do still have our regular adjustment layers or single adjustments, where you can add levels, for instance, and tweak these sliders for darker or brighter image. However, what's really cool about them that they do have names, so you don't have to hover over these icons and remember what they were, which is really cool, as you can see.